I never thought my life could unravel in a single night, standing in the heart of my husband Victor's hidden world, where secrets drip like the finest wine. I'm Stella, the woman who's always lingered in his dazzling shadow, but tonight, I became something else, something desired, something dangerous. As I descended into the ancient cellar of his exclusive club, the cool stone walls seemed to whisper warnings I couldn't hear over the pounding of my own heart. Every step pulled me deeper into a game I didn't know I was playing, where every touch, every gaze, rewrote the rules of everything I thought I knew about love and betrayal. What did Victor orchestrate in that flickering candlelight, and why can't I shake the hunger it's awakened in me? Picture this. The world outside my window hums with a restless energy, a city that never quite sleeps, its neon veins pulsing through the night. I'm standing at the edge of my life, looking down into a story I didn't know I'd be telling. My name is Stella, 38 years old, and for the past 12 years, I've been tethered to a man who could light up any room he walked into. Victor, my husband, is 42, a restaurateur with a flair for the dramatic, a creator of experiences so exclusive, they feel like whispered secrets. He's got these sharp, chiseled features that could cut through doubt, a commanding presence that draws every eye, and a way of turning the mundane into magic. I've watched him spin straw into gold at every restaurant opening, every late-night brainstorming session over a bottle of vintage red. Me? I've always been the shadow to his spotlight, the supportive wife smiling at his side, shaking hands with high-profile guests whose names I can barely remember by the next morning. I'm there, but not quite seen, a fixture in his grand tapestry. Our life together is a canvas of contrasts. We live in a modern loft perched high above the city, all glass and steel, with views that stretch forever on clear nights. In the mornings, Victor hums old jazz tunes, his voice low and gravelly, as he flips pancakes or sears something decadent for breakfast. His energy, it's electric, filling every corner of our home, every inch of our shared space. I can't help but be pulled into his orbit, even when I'm just watching from the sidelines. There are moments, quiet ones, where I catch him staring out at the skyline, lost in thought, and I wonder what dreams are brewing behind those intense eyes. But I don't ask. I've learned to let him unfold his plans in his own time. Lately, his focus has been on something new, something different. Victor's latest venture is a private wine club, hidden in an ancient cellar beneath one of his most upscale restaurants. I can still recall the first time I stepped down there, during its grand opening. The air was cool, almost biting, as I descended the narrow stone steps, the walls around me dark and rough, like they'd been carved by time itself. They seemed to whisper as I passed, echoes of history I couldn't quite decipher. The space below was a world apart. Heavy wooden tables gleamed under soft, flickering light, polished to a deep, rich sheen that reflected every shadow. Plush velvet drapes hung like royal tapestries, deep burgundy and midnight blue, swallowing sound and wrapping the room in an intimate hush. It felt secretive, like stepping into a hidden court where only the chosen few were allowed. Victor's voice rang out that night, charming as ever, repeating his favorite mantra to a crowd of elite clientele. Every drop of wine here has its own story. They laughed, clinked glasses, and hung on his every word. I stood near the A's. As I gripped the steering wheel, the city lights streak past me in a blur of electric color, a kaleidoscope of late-evening chaos that mirrors the knot tightening in my stomach. I'm driving to Victor's restaurant, the crown jewel of his empire, where tonight's event at the private wine club awaits. My hands feel clammy against the leather, and I can't shake this restless anticipation, like I'm heading toward something I can't quite name. I glance at my reflection in the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of the deep burgundy dress Victor chose for me earlier today. The fabric hugs my frame, sleek and daring, making me feel both powerful and exposed, like I'm wearing a second skin that's meant to be seen. It's elegant, yes, but there's a vulnerability in how it clings. A reminder that tonight, I'm stepping into his world more fully than ever before. I pull into the lot behind the restaurant, my tires crunching softly against the gravel as I park. Victor's instructions were clear. Use the back entrance, avoid the main crowd. I step out, the cool night air brushing against my bare shoulders, and my heels click sharply on the cobblestone path as I make my way to the discreet door tucked behind a curtain of ivy. My pulse quickens with every step, a rhythm I can't control. I push the door open, the creak of old hinges echoing in the quiet, and start my descent into the cellar. The narrow, winding stone staircase feels like a portal to another time, each step downward heavier than the last. The air grows cooler, damp with the scent of aged oak and the faint, heady aroma of fermented grapes. It wraps around me, thick and ancient, like I'm breathing in secrets carved into the very walls. The dim light from flickering sconces casts long shadows, and I can't help but feel like I'm being watched, though there's no one here but me. At the bottom of the stairs, Victor waits, a glass of red wine in his hand, the liquid catching the light like a dark ruby. His eyes meet mine, glinting with something I can't decipher. Excitement, maybe, or a shadow of something deeper, more enigmatic. He's a vision in his tailored black suit, the fabric fitting him like it was poured over his frame, accentuating every line of his commanding presence. His dark hair is slicked back, polished and precise, and a single silver ring on his finger flashes as he extends the glass to me. I take it, my fingers brushing his, and there's a spark in that fleeting touch, a silent promise of what's to come. He doesn't say much at first, just watches me with that piercing gaze, a faint smirk playing at the corner of his lips, like he knows something I don't. He gestures toward a heavy iron door at the far end of the passage, and I follow, the weight of his hand at the small of my back guiding me forward. The door groans as it opens. As the heavy iron door groans open, a wave of warm, flickering light spills out, bathing the cold stone passage in a golden haze. I step through, Victor's hand still a steady pressure at my back, and the room beyond takes my breath away. It's the same cellar I've seen before, but tonight, it feels transformed, more intimate, more charged, like the air itself is holding its breath. The long wooden table is set with crystal glasses and bottles of wine so dark they seem to absorb the candlelight. Around it, 13 men are seated, their faces half-shadowed, their eyes turning to me as I enter. The weight of their collective gaze is almost tangible, pressing against my skin, and I feel the burgundy dress Victor chose for me burning hotter, like it's marking me as something to be noticed, something to be desired. The silence in the room is thick, broken only by the faint crackle of the candles and the soft shuffle of fabric as the first man rises from his seat. He's tall, imposing, with a weathered face that tells stories of hard years and harder choices. His piercing blue eyes lock onto mine as he approaches, his polished shoes echoing on the stone floor with a deliberate rhythm that matches the pounding in my chest. He stops just in front of me, close enough that I can smell the faint hint of cedar and tobacco on him, and then, with a slow, intentional motion, he places a hand on my shoulder. The touch is light but firm, sending a jolt through me, like a current I can't pull away from. My eyes dart to Victor, expecting to see jealousy or anger in his expression, but instead, he gives a subtle nod, his face calm, almost approving. My mind reels, confusion knotting tighter in my gut. What is this? Before I can process it, a second man stands, younger, with a sly grin that curves his lips like he's in on a secret I haven't yet uncovered. He steps forward, leaning in close, his breath warm against my neck as his fingers trace the line of my collarbone, a feather-light touch that makes my breath catch. There's fear in me, sharp and cold, but there's something else too, something I can't name, something that stirs deep and unbidden. Then the third man, older, with a gentle demeanor that contrasts the intensity of the others, rises. He takes my hand in his grip warm and steady, and presses a kiss to my knuckles, his lips lingering just a moment too long, a silent claim that sends a shiver up my spine. My thoughts are a storm, crashing against each other as I stand there, rooted to the spot. Victor's words from earlier tonight echo in my mind, his cryptic hints about the evening being unforgettable, about me being the heart of it all. Suddenly, the pieces snap into place with a clarity that steals the air from my lungs. This isn't just a wine tasting, not just another of Victor's exclusive gatherings. I'm not here as the owner's wife, not just a guest to smile and sip and nod. I'm the centerpiece. I'm the event itself. The realization hits like a wave, drowning me in its weight, and I feel my world tilt as the truth sinks in. Victor's voice cuts through the silence, sharp and commanding, like a conductor directing an orchestra. Next, slower. His words are precise, chilling in their control, and I see the fourth man rise, his rough hands trembling slightly as he reaches out to touch my cheek, his calloused fingers a stark contrast to the softness of the moment. I'm caught in a strange dance, a ritual I didn't agree to but can't seem to stop. Each man takes his turn, each touch a betrayal, a moment of connection that I allow, that I lean into, despite the shock and guilt clawing at my insides. There are 13 of them, and with each one, I feel myself slipping further from the woman I thought I was. Victor watches it all, his eyes never leaving me, his voice guiding every interaction with a cold precision that both terrifies and fascinates me. "Look at her. Remember her like this," he says at one point. As the 13th man steps back into the shadows of the room, a heavy silence descends, pressing down on me like a physical weight. The air is thick, saturated with the rich, heady scent of aged wine, and something more primal, something raw that I can't quite name but feel in every fiber of my being. My skin prickles, every nerve alight as if I've been plugged into a current I can't unplug from. My body hums with an energy I don't fully understand, but my mind, my mind is a tempest, churning with guilt that claws at my chest, exhilaration that races through my veins, and a confusion so deep it threatens to drown me. What have I just done? What have I allowed to happen? I glance around, my eyes seeking some anchor in this storm, and they land on Victor, standing at the far edge of the room, half cloaked in shadow. His face is unreadable, a mask carved from stone. But as the candlelight flickers across his features, I search for something. Anger, regret, anything to tell me he feels the weight of this moment too. Instead, I see a glint in his eyes, something akin to pride, a quiet satisfaction that sends a shiver down my spine, unsettling me more than any touch I've endured tonight. I rise from the chair, my legs trembling beneath me, unsteady as if the ground itself has shifted. The burgundy dress clings to my skin, damp with a faint sheen of perspiration, a second layer that feels heavier now, marked by the intensity of what's transpired. I can still feel the weight of their gazes, the 13 men seated around the table, their crystal glasses raised in a silent toast. Their expressions are a complex tapestry, reverence in some, a lingering hunger in others, as if they've witnessed something sacred and forbidden all at once. I can't meet their eyes for long. The intensity burns too much. Instead, I focus on the path ahead, my feet moving of their own accord toward the heavy iron door at the far end of the cellar. Each step feels deliberate, almost ceremonial, like I'm peeling away layers of who I used to be. The dutiful wife, the quiet figure in the background of Victor's dazzling world. Those versions of me seem to crumble with every click of my heels on the cold stone floor. I'm stepping into something new, something dangerous, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for it, or if I even have a choice. Behind me, I sense Victor following, his presence a constant pressure at my back, like a shadow I can't shake. He doesn't speak, doesn't reach out, but I feel him there, a force as undeniable as gravity itself. I reach the iron door, my hand trembling slightly as I push it open, the groan of the hinges echoing in the stillness like a mournful cry. Beyond it lies the narrow staircase, the same one I descended earlier tonight, though it feels like a lifetime ago. A draft of cool night air brushes against my face from above, a sharp contrast to the stifling warmth of the cellar, and I begin to climb. Each step upward is a battle. My limbs ache with a deep, bone-weary fatigue, as if they've carried more than just my weight tonight. My heart pounds in my chest, a frantic rhythm that refuses to slow, and my breath catches in my throat, ragged and uneven, as I try to piece together the fragments of what just happened. My mind races, questions piling up like debris after a storm. Have I crossed a line I can't come back from? Was this all some elaborate test Victor devised, a game to push me beyond my limits? Or is there something deeper at play, something I can't yet grasp? I think of his voice, so controlled, so precise as he directed every moment down there, and I wonder if I've been a pawn in a plan I never agreed to. Or worse, did I choose this? Did I let myself be swept into this strange, intoxicating dance because some part of me wanted to be seen, to be more than the shadow I've always been? The thought terrifies me, but I can't shake it, can't push. As I reach the top of the narrow staircase, the cool night air hits me like a slap, sharp and biting against my flushed skin. I step out onto the terrace behind the restaurant, a secluded spot I've only been to a handful of times before. The city sprawls below me, a glittering sea of lights that seem to pulse with a life of their own, indifferent to the storm raging inside me. I wrap my arms around myself, the thin fabric of the burgundy dress offering little protection against the chill. But I welcome the discomfort. It grounds me, pulls me back from the edge of the whirlwind in my mind. My breath comes in shallow bursts, visible in the cold air, as I try to steady myself against the weight of everything that just unfolded in the cellar below. I walk to the edge of the terrace, my heels clicking softly on the weathered stone, and lean against the wrought iron railing. The view is breathtaking, a reminder of how small I am in the grand scheme of this vast, restless city. Yet tonight, I feel like I've become something larger, something untamed. My eyes drift to a small table set up in the corner of the terrace, a solitary candle flickering inside a glass holder, its warm, golden light dancing across the surface of a bottle of wine and 2 empty glasses. The setup feels deliberate, intimate, like a stage waiting for its players. My heart skips a beat, a mix of anticipation and dread curling in my chest as I wonder who arranged this, and why. The creak of the cellar door behind me breaks the silence, and I turn to see Victor emerging into the night. His suit jacket is gone now, his crisp white shirt unbuttoned at the collar, sleeves rolled up to reveal the intricate tattoos snaking along his forearms, dark, swirling patterns I've traced with my fingers on quieter nights. He moves with that effortless grace of his, a predator's confidence in every step, as if the world bends to his will without question. He doesn't look at me right away, instead crossing to the table and picking up the bottle of wine. The soft clink of glass against glass echoes in the stillness as he pours a deep crimson liquid into one of the glasses, the motion slow, almost ritualistic. Then he turns, holding the glass out to me without a word, his eyes finally meeting mine. There's a depth in them, a storm of their own, but I can't tell if it's regret, triumph, or something I don't yet have a name for. I step forward, my fingers brushing against his as I take the glass, and that fleeting contact sends a jolt through me, a reminder of the charged moments we've shared tonight, both in the cellar and in the years that built us. I search his face, desperate for answers, for some crack in his composed exterior that might reveal what he's thinking. But his expression remains a fortress, unyielding, even as the candlelight casts shadows across the sharp planes of his jaw. I clutch the glass tighter, the cool stem a lifeline as I wait for him to speak, to explain, to make sense of the chaos that's reshaped me in a matter of hours. Finally, his voice cuts through the night, low and steady, like the rumble of distant thunder. "You were the best event this club has ever had." The words land heavy, a mix of praise and something darker, something possessive that twists in my gut like a blade. I feel my breath hitch, my mind racing to unpack the layers of what he's saying. It's a compliment, yes, but it's also a claim, as if I've been molded into a story of his making, a trophy to be displayed in the hidden annals of his exclusive world. My chest tightens, a cocktail of emotions bubbling up, flattery at being seen in such a way, unease at the implications, and a raw, aching need to understand his role in all of this. Why? My voice trembles as I force the question out, barely above a whisper, but it carries the weight of everything I'm feeling. Why did this happen? Was this betrayal? Or was it something you wanted? Something we shared? I hate how vulnerable I sound, how much I stand here on the terrace, the weight of Victor's words still hanging in the air like a thick fog, wrapping around me as I try to make sense of the night. My fingers tighten around the stem of the wine glass, the cool crystal grounding me while my mind spins with everything that's happened. The city below hums with its endless rhythm, a chaotic pulse of life that feels so far removed from the surreal stillness of this moment. Cars weave through the streets, their headlights flickering like fireflies, while the distant murmur of voices and horns blends into a restless lullaby. Up here, though, it's just us, Victor and me, and the flickering candlelight dancing in his eyes, casting golden flecks against the storm I see brewing in their depths. We finish our wine in silence, the rich, velvety taste lingering on my tongue, a reminder of the cellar's intoxicating pull. Each sip feels like a quiet acknowledgement of the boundary we've crossed, a line I never imagined stepping over until tonight. I let my gaze drift back to the sprawling cityscape, its vastness both a comfort and a challenge. It doesn't care about the transformation I've undergone, about the woman I was hours ago versus the one standing here now. My thoughts wander to those 13 men, each encounter a vivid mark on my memory, etched into my very skin like invisible ink that only I can read. There was the first, with his weathered intensity, his touch a spark that ignited something I couldn't name. The second, with his sly confidence, stirring a heat I didn't expect. And the others, each leaving a distinct impression, a brush of fingers, a lingering look, a whisper of something unspoken. Their stories now, chapters of a night I'll carry with me forever, woven into the fabric of who I'm becoming. I can still feel the weight of their attention, the way it shifted something deep inside me, awakening a part of myself I didn't know was sleeping. My mind turns to my marriage, to the intricate dance Victor and I have always performed on the edge of what's expected. We've never been conventional, not in the way we live, not in the way we love. Our life together has been a series of bold strokes, painted with trust and intensity, pushing against the mundane until it bends to our will. Tonight, though it shocked me to my core, feels like a natural extension of that, a daring leap into uncharted territory, guided by the unspoken bond we've forged over the years. I search my heart for guilt, waiting for its sharp sting to pierce through the haze of exhilaration, but it doesn't come. Instead, there's a hunger, raw and insistent, gnawing at the edges of my thoughts, a desire to explore this hidden side of myself, this untamed force I've only just glimpsed. It's as if a door has been unlocked, and I'm standing on the threshold, peering into a world of possibilities I never dared to imagine before. I turn to Victor, the candlelight still playing across his face, highlighting the sharp angles and the quiet strength that's always drawn me to him. The silence between us isn't heavy anymore. It's charged, brimming with questions and unspoken truths. I take a breath, steadying myself, and let the words slip out, soft but deliberate. Will there be other nights like this? My voice carries a tremor of curiosity, of anticipation, as if I'm testing the waters of this new reality we've created. He looks at me, a slow chuckle rumbling from his chest, low and warm, like the first roll of thunder before a storm. He reaches for the bottle, pouring the last of the deep crimson wine into my glass, the liquid catching the light as it flows. "Only if you want to be the legend again," he says, his tone laced with a playful challenge. But there's a seriousness in his eyes, a promise that this choice is mine to make. I feel a smile tug at my lips, the weight of his words settling over me like a warm cloak, comforting yet thrilling in its implications. The idea of being a legend, of stepping into that role again, sends a shiver through me. Not of fear, but of something electric, something alive. I nod, accepting the challenge. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.